morning, everyone. Today I am taking on a topic that I know a lot of videos and a lot of people have already done, but I wanted to try it for myself. And I wanted to see if higher quality watercolor paper is worth it and does make a difference in your technique and how things come out. So I took the same paints, Daniel Smith paints, those are the high end, and tested it with a student grade, a medium artist grade, and a higher end grade paper. Guys, let's find out what happens. I think you will find that you can save a little money in your paper. Just looking for a couple of things. 140 cold press. Cotton is the standard, but I think you'll find, at least I found one, and there's a ton out there, that you can definitely get some good value with the other ones. Here are the ones that I'm using today. Grumbacher, I hope I'm saying it right, could be Grumbacher, but Grumbacher is a student grade pulp paper. It's really textured, so I think it might do some cool things. Very thick. This is 140. I'm not using anything less than 140 today. There are 90-pound ones on the market, just they're very thin and they buckle a lot. So I have 140. And then this is a Canson artist grade Montval watercolor. And this one is a cold press. It is 140 pounds, and it specifically says it's for repeated washes and you can do color lifting. And I'm going to test that. So we'll see Canson Montval if you can indeed do the color lifting. This one is sort of the medium tier, and I'll tell you the pricing at the end too. Some of you probably have used some of these maybe before. And then we have Arches French. Did you know, fun fact, that this company was created and started producing paper in 1492. I need to do some research on that. It's true, it's the true fact, but I want to see how that was done at that time and what equipment they used. So cool. Anyway, this is kind of the gold standard. There's others on the market too. It's a little bit more expensive, but we'll talk about it. This one is cotton, pure cotton, 140 pound cold press with a fine grain. So we're going to take a look at all of those. You guys stick around. We're trying wet on wet glazing in one test. We are going to do some texture with salt and saran wrap, two types of techniques there. And then at the very last, we are going to try scrubbing and lifting some paint out of that paper and see how they hold up. Okay, join me. Do the test with me and see how. Okay, I took a lot of water. I soaked these because I want to do a really wet on wet so that we can see what these can do. So again, I'm starting with the student grade paper here. I'll talk about them as I go through, but let's just start by dropping in some green. We're just gonna throw a lot of stuff in here. I'm gonna do a little blue. This is just a nice wet on wet technique. I do some darker at the bottom. We are going to come back to this. I'm going to spread some of this up here. I want this lighter. Okay, let's do the same up here. And I'm going to go one to the other. This is student grade paper, Grumbacher, and it is 140 pound. And we're going to see what it can do. We're going to see if it's worth the splurge to go a little higher end, or is it not? Okay, so as I'm doing it, I like that it's soaking in. I'm seeing, actually, it's not really soaking in. As I'm waiting for it a couple seconds, it's not. Look at, see guys, even if I put some more here, this would normally push it away and do a bloom anyway, but it's just kind of sitting on the top a little bit. This one at the cover says it's sized for watercolor, but maybe they sized it too well, which means not the size of it, but it's what the coating is on the outside. So maybe they have sized this with some sort of industrial thing because it's kind of sitting on the top. I'm going to drop a little yellow over here, a little more blue, and then I'm going to do this over here, and I'm going to keep the same. I'm going to try my best to keep this sort of same mix going for every single one. And as we're doing this one, I am feeling already like it's staying on the top, similar to this paper. Oh, and can you see this one's already buckling? Look, it's 3D. So if we want to make like a 3D card something like that, this left one might be a good choice. This student grade. This is the Canson Monval artist grade, but not cotton. So we're saving cotton for last, but I'm here to tell you, we're going to be able to still have some good effects, even if we're not splurging on the pure cotton paper. Okay, I'm going to put the blue in the same place that I kind of did before. I wanted to get a little blue in here too. Let's see how's it going. And we might just be okay without even splurging. We'll have to see though. This one, as I'm doing it, I know I have a lot of water, so it's making a little bit I'm pushing it around, moving the water around, but this is definitely kind of sitting on the top a little bit more than we may want. I'm gonna do a little darker green at the bottom of these so we can get some shadowing, and I'm gonna let some of this dry and then come back to it. Tiny yellow, but I'm going to do some glazing. That's one of our tests, so let's not do too much. Okay, last one. So right now, as my first impressions are, it's sitting on the top. It's getting there. It's sized too. We want them to be sized, which means having the coating on them, because we want to be able to do these effects on the top, but we also want them to kind of blend in and start staining the paper. This is Arch 100% cotton cold press, and the fact that it's pure cotton rag paper is going to make a difference. But I'm here to tell you, we don't have to go for this first. Especially whatever level you're on painting wise, you can start and you can practice at different levels. And some people, professional colorists have other brands that they go to. Even though this could be seen as the gold standard, there are definitely other things you can do. I'm going to throw in some phthalo blue. This is a staining blue, and I just kept it kind of light on the other, so I'm going to drop in a tiny bit just so we can fairly show the differences. And I want you guys to see how one of the things that I like about this paper, and you're seeing it here, is that even when you're throwing it on top, even wet on wet, you're still going to maintain those different pigments. Like you can still see, over here I am too though, which is great. Over here, not so much, but here, look. Here I'm throwing a bunch of colors on top of each other, and I'm still seeing a maintain of, some good individual pigments, and they're gonna interact with each other. Look, they're staying on the top a little bit, so giving me enough time to play around and really do some blending, or just dropping in here because this wet. Remember, this one's been sitting a while too, but it's still very wet. It's giving me the time to do that, and I just got rid of my blue, so I'm going to add a little bit more. But see, it's still giving us very much, it's still the blue pigment is there, which I really like. You're able to see it. I'm throwing some over here too to see how that does. I want to also I have this undersea green color, which I love. It's like a really it literally is like a murky, kind of darkish green. And I'm going to put some of that at the bottom of all of these, and at the bottom here. And I'm trying not to make it super wet, so I'm not getting craziness over here. I'm going back to some of these. I'm doing it kind of as we go. I'm going to go back and forth. I'm going to let these dry too and come back on camera when they've gotten a chance to dry a little bit. Okay, look, I'm looking some of this side, this brushing, dry brush effect is kind of picking up because this paper has a lot of texture. So that's kind of fun. Okay, I need some darker at the bottom here. All right, guys, it's looking pretty good. I'm definitely seeing a difference. You're gonna get a more watery, colory, beautiful kind of what you've been hoping for with watercolor with better papers. But look, guys, you are also, oh, look what I just did. I created huge blooms right there. You're also going to be able to achieve some effects without having to take out a second mortgage. or take out a third job. You're going to be fine. And it's really, there's a lot out there you can practice with. And some of them you're going to like. Also, well, I'll talk about that in a second. Okay, guys, I'm letting this dry and then we're going to come back. Okay, we're back, and well, you weren't looking, the cactus is balloons. So these prickly pear cactuses had some little flowers, just added a little light pink and then a little darker in the center. And so still, as the wet on wet dried, I'm still able to see that here. I want you guys to see also this. I don't know if you can tell from the back of the paper here, though. Let me pick that up. The back of the paper, you can see there's a huge indent where it's literally like a push in. So this is really kind of, and you can see here, it's like it's like coming off the paper, like a 3D effect, which could be cool, like I said, but we really don't want the paper buckling that much and then not going back. Even if you press that down with books, that's going to be kind of permanent. I'm seeing a lot of sort of blending and stuff in here, which is nice, but it really felt like it was sitting on top of the paper. It didn't go in. This one soaked in right away, and I'm seeing different pigments there for sure. Okay, here's what we're going to do now. We did wet on wet. I'm taking a really thin glaze. I made like almost a margarita green kind of color, and I'm going to glaze that over the top and see how the papers can now handle a second layer of adding, we're adding water, and there's still a little bit of water there. I'm glazing some of this yellow in a couple of places just to give it, whoa, that's way too much, to give it a little bit of warmth. This one was like super warm, midsummer, and to see how that goes. So this one's taking it, but it does feel like it might be at its maximum for handling any more water, pigment, or shenanigans that we've got going on top. Let's try this one. Let's try the Artist Grade Canson and see. Okay, this is taking the glaze pretty well. I'm going to glaze one more color over it too, like a purpley on some of the edges. Okay, this is taking it. I almost feel like it's not, we'll see when it dries. I almost feel like it's not deepening that much, if that kind of makes sense. It's glazing over the top, but I'm not sure how much it's actually mingling with the other colors. Okay, here's one. This one I like. I can see, okay, so what the difference? This one is kind of, I don't know if it's mingling with the other colors, it's kind of opaque, the glaze. It's almost like I can't really see through it, which we want to do with our glaze. And look, this one you can. Look, I can still see my green underneath this glaze. Like there's like a little, that's really good. That's really kind of what I wanted. I want to see if I can just see still some of my green and it didn't totally change the color. It just added a glaze. Again, that's too much. I'm using a larger brush for the smaller. See what I mean? We can add, I can't see really a lot of the green that I had underneath here or here, but here I can. Okay, one last little fun glaze. I just have a little tiny bit of like a purpley red. And I want to glaze that over in some spots and see what that does. Okay, so I just mixed up, I have a little blue. I actually put in a little purple, pre-mixed purple. And let's see, just to give it like this little cactusy purpley on the edge, like a prickly pear. I feel like having a prickly pear margarita right now. Okay, let's put some of that over there, just a little. I'm not trying to darken it, I'm trying to give it a glaze. So let me take some of that off actually there. Okay, just in some places where I want to make sure there's a little reddish in there. So I'll glaze that to be fair and equal test on all. See, look guys, I've got this on my brush and I'm barely seeing that glaze come over. I can see it better here, see? Just a little bit, and let's see what it does on the arch paper. Look, you can see that over here. I'm seeing the different purple a little bit. I'm seeing some of that glaze, which is nice. I'm trying to keep my brush the same wet level on each one so it's fair. Let's see, I put some over here on that one. And let's do a little bit of just a little tiny red glazy reddish purple on the top of a couple of them. See that right there? Okay, right there. I can see it on this paper, this artist, second one. Let's see about the Grumbacher. Yeah, I can see it on all of these, that little glaze there, which is great. Let's see when it dries, how that works out for us. I'm gonna put some back in here so we have that. And okay, that's it for the purple glaze. We'll be back. Let's let it dry. Okay guys, with the pot, as I was trying to do some lifting a little bit on some of these, it was hard to do. And this student paper has reached its max capacity for having extra water over here and working with it. Part of this, as we talked about, is the texture here, but it definitely has some issues going on there. And then this one, it did really start to blend and do some things, which is nice. And as it dried, um, but again, it's really kind of, even when it's somewhat dry, it feels like it's at its max capacity and it really can't deepen as much, let's say. So even right now, if I were to take a little bit darker, let me get a really dark sienna brown, and I want to deepen these a little bit, let's say, like I want to deepen this. I'm getting some in there. That's great. But it's still kind of sitting, see, it's beating up a little bit. It's still kind of sitting on the top. Try over here. I want to darken it. Look, guys, it's going right into the paper. It was meant to be. So, and I can look, I need to darken over here because we lost some of the pot shadow. And look at that. It's handling it really well. Let's try over here, guys. I'm so sorry, student Grumbacher paper. Well, I mean, it's there. It's getting on there, but it's definitely not. It's just you see through that. I mean, it's a little bit of a disaster. But guys, look, there is so many cool things you can do with this paper. If you've got some student grade paper sitting around, you can make lots of cool things with this. We don't have to shoot for the second. We could do lots of things. And we're going to do the next test, and maybe this one's going to come out ahead. Let's see. Okay, we are going to take a look at how these papers hold up to some texture. And I'm going to go ahead and do some salt and saran wrap. And I'm just going to make a beach scene because it uses a lot of wet on wet. And this will be good to show if the papers can handle more scrubbing. I'm going to scrub it, put a lot more water on these papers, and then see how they hold up and also how the effects come out. So I'll be doing it on the student grade, the artist grade, and the higher end artist grade arches with the cotton paper. So I'm already seeing as I'm putting water, it's already buckling up even more so than when I was doing wet on wet. So it's that's just the nature of these papers. The lower end is going to buckle some more. So I'm dropping in lots of pigment, going to make like a little ocean scene with some beach on the bottom corner. So I'm dropping really as just a bunch of pigment, like heavy pigment. Um, what I'm looking to see is how well these papers are going to hold up when we take the effects off of the salt and the saran. And then, so to make it sort of a fair test, I'm trying to do the exact same thing on each one. I'll put in some ochre and raw umber down here, so we get a little beach scene too. And I'm gonna finish all of these off camera, so you can just see when we're ready to do the effects. Okay, here we go. I have not done all the beaches yet, but I've done all the water. And on the bottom half of these, I'm gonna sprinkle some salt to do just some texture, some cool texture and foamy wave texture in the water. So on the bottom of all the papers, I'll do salt, and on the top of the papers, I'll do saran wrap. So here's the middle tier. Not cotton, it's a pulp-based paper, but it is 140 pound in cold press. And then the left-hand side, we've got the student grade 140 cold press. And then I'm kind of trying to put salt in the same spots, just to like 2 or 3 lines of it. So we're going to see how well it can allow the paint to be pulled out, and we'll scrub it later. Now I'm balling up a little bit of saran and putting that down. That's going to make another cool texture effect for us up here. I don't want to say just which one. This one, I'm not as worried about it ripping up the paper or anything. Okay, guys, the moment of truth. Here we go. I've let these dry overnight and I've been scrubbing. I left the middle one to show you guys, but I've been scrubbing the bottoms to get the salt off. We're getting some really cool effects on all the papers. So good news for those of us who are going to need to be on a budget a little bit. I'm really happy. I want to show you guys up close with the Arches paper, the way that the salt effect happened. A lot of granulation, really cool. The middle tier paper also showed some cool effects there. And our student paper. Come on, we got some cool things in there too. So very nice. And really all of them, none of them had a problem with the scrubbing. I didn't have any problems with any of the paper. They all handled it perfect. And look at the saran. We've got some effects in there. Little bit of effects. The paper is still good. It's not buckled up too much. And then we got more effects with the saran on the second tier paper, the Canson paper. And then the most pronounced effects on the saran wrap happened on the Arches paper. I don't know the reason why. Maybe because the paper, the pigment soaked in more deeply to the cotton, and the saran was able to block out some areas. But it's not super crazy differently defined there. But guys, I mean, I'd recommend either of these tiers of paper for texture effects. They've pretty much held up. I was surprised. I was thinking it would scrub off. I definitely think, but you know, this one is, you could go with either one. Okay, guys, our final test of these three fabulous papers. This one is going to be, we just needed some fancy flamingos in our life right now. So we're going to do technique lifting. We're going to do lifting, and that is going to be pulling some color off of the paper. And I'm doing wet on wet. I'm going to do the same test on all three, but I'm going to take you through this first one, and then I'll kind of cut to the other things. So, but what we're doing with this is trying to test to see if the paper will handle lifting well, or it kind of implodes. So we're going to check that out. So I'm going to get, first of all, I'm going to get kind of a good coating of stuff all through here. We're getting some color, and then I'm going to want to go back and have some lifted out and then see what we've got. Okay. So I'm going to dab a few more things in, get even maybe a little purple down here just for fun, get some like a violet thing down here, and then I really want this nice light pink in a few places. And let's see what we're doing with the lifting. Now, this is pretty saturated right now, but what I'm going to do is take a brush that is kind of a stiff brush. This is a cheaper one, and I've wet it and dried it off a little on my paper towel, and I want to see if I'm able to pull, and I am, pull some color out a little bit here, dry it, and pull some again. And then in addition to being able to see, I'm trying to get a few feather techniques in here. In addition to seeing if I can pull the color out, I want to see if I'm going to hurt the paper as well. So what's happening right now is this one is, the paper texture is a little bit compromised here, see? And look, I'm not able to lift anymore right here. I got some here on my lightest pink, but if we have a color that's a little more staining like this, we've got this Quin Coral here and a Quin Rose, Daniel Smith. That one is not being able to be pulled out as well, as I have a little, some of this in a really lighter mix up here with buff titanium, and it was. Okay, I also wanted to see if I could pull some off of the head. There we go, it's working there. We've got it. It's okay, it's working well, and let me see if I can pull some at the front of the body. That's pretty good. And then we'll try a couple more techniques down here with the feather. I'm going to cut back to this one, the second grade paper. Okay, guys, we're working on the second paper now, the second grade artist grade paper that is still pulp. I am going to see if I can pull out the same way. Okay, this one is allowing me to get the feathers out. And let's check the top of the head as well. Yes, and if I dry it well between, letting the lifting is happening well. Down here though, it didn't stick. Look, the pigment has already come back, so I can go back. I did, to be fair, I did have a lot of wet on wet down here, a lot of pigment. It is creating some of these feather textures that I was looking for over here though. And then I want to pull some from the front of the body too. So it's working fairly decently. And no pulling up of the paper, which is great. Okay, on to the next in a second. Okay, on to the Arch cold press. The last one, I have noticed that it is allowing me, I'm going to dry my brush really well, use the same one, to pull some pigment out. And guys, look how nicely it kind of lets you decide how much, how little. I can make skinnier lines in here, and the pigment is still coming away from you. Look at that. I can decide to soften up or get rid of some of these edges here if I want just looser feathers at the edge. Let's try the head where we did it on the others. And yeah, that pulled a lot out there. And then down here, it's pulling a lot out as well. And then I feel like I'm not at all touching this paper as far as scratching the texture or doing anything like that. So it's looking awesome. Okay, I'm going to let these dry and come back, and we're going to try feathers. I'll do all 3 feathers at the same time. Okay, I wanted to check. I've filled in these feathers, and what I want to try to do is lift some of the color out by just scratching sort of some texture in and see how, if it can hold up to that. And this student grade paper is doing okay, but I feel like if I do any more, it's going to really tear. This one's pulling away nicely too. I'd like to create a little white down the center, but I am getting some, see that? There's like paper actually ripping off there, but it's giving me a chance to lift some. And then let's check on the arches. I'm able to get a line down there and some texture lifting here. And then let's try also lifting some with, I would like to take some out of here, see how that's going. I can, but it's really kind of messing this one up. Let's try over here. Yeah, I'm able, from the student grade, I'm able to take some areas and lighten them a little bit more if I want it. And I'm going to take my paper towel and dab those that I just lifted out. I want to take a little bit more and lift out here. See if I can. Yep, I can do it a little bit. I've got to work on this a little bit. These are looking way more like leaves than feathers, but I'm going to work on those. I'd like this to be wider going down the center. So I'm trying to rub it out, and now look. Now if I messed up and I'm really not wanting that to be dark pink, and I'm trying, this is pulling my entire paper with it. Look, there's a huge chunk of paper just flying off. So that's no good. Let's see if we do this now. Okay, let's try back on arches, and then also see if I can just pull some down the center, some white, and then a couple areas of lighter. I'm pretty much re-wetting this almost completely over here to see what would, if it's able to lift, almost scrub, like as if this was a mistake. Let's pretend this one was, I just don't want that there. I'm really scrubbing at it. The paper is holding up, and I am really able to get out a lot of that color. So if that's another technique if we have like a huge mess up and we want to fix it. So for feathers wise, I would say that the center paper, the artist grade, wasn't as hot, and this one is definitely showing some wear too. The arches is holding up all overall, but there's just a lot of different things, guys, a lot of different experiments, a lot of different types of stuff you want to do. It depends, like we said, on you.
Guys, the grades are A, B, and C+. The Arch did come out ahead, but others performed well in different tests. I had so much fun doing this video and learning some stuff myself. I hope you guys did too. Like and subscribe to support original art.